is. But folks, just moments ago, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives just got done with their voting session on which there was 3 major gun control bills. And I am very happy to tell you, 2 out of the 3 gun control bills were killed on the on the floor of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. Folks, jump on in here. Welcome in. I am so very glad to be able to shoot this video instead of sit there and to tell you that we lost on all 3 of these bills. But folks, due to a tremendous amount of pressure, I'm telling you, you guys have been doing a great job over the last couple of days. Due to a tremendous amount of pressure, 2 of the gun control bills were defeated. I'm going to talk about those in just a moment. But first of all, right out of the gate, I'm going to tell you the worst of the 3 gun control bills by our measure here at the Pennsylvania Firearms Association, statewide gun registration. Again, this is the bill that the radical left always wants to pass. They call it universal background checks. What it is a massive databasing system that they want to build up for a future gun confiscation operation. But that bill passed out of the House less than 5 minutes ago by a vote of 104 to 99. 104 to 99. I'll get into the vote breakdown in just a minute, but guys, jump into the comment section and let me know where you guys are checking in from. Like Nicole just said, okay, 2 out of 3 is better than none. But the 2 gun control bills that went down in flames were, number 1, the ban on homemade firearms, but number 2, red flag gun confiscation. Folks, that is a tremendous victory for grassroots gun owners all across the Commonwealth to watch that bill go down in flames. Again, it passed not 2 years ago. Not 2 years ago, we were right here in this exact same position, and you had several Republicans that broke ranks from the Republican caucus, joined the Democrats, and got that bill across the line. Red flag gun confiscation and a ban on homemade firearms parts is dead. It just failed in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. But let's talk about statewide gun registration, the bill that just passed by a vote of 104 to 99. First and foremost, out of the gate, there's 3 Republicans that have seen the light and now voted pro-gun. And I am so happy to be able to come on here and tell you that Representatives Valerie Gatos voted perfectly today. Valerie Gatos voted perfectly. So everything we've said about her in the past has now been fixed. She saw the light. She voted exactly how her district wanted her to. That is fantastic news if you live over there east of Pittsburgh. So Valerie Gatos, Cheryl DeLozier also switched back, and now she is in the fold. She voted perfectly on all of these gun control bills. She voted against them. And also Natalie Mihalik. Oh, it's so good to see. Those 3 voted the right way. And I'm going to see if I can pull up the list of the Republicans who voted against us there. I don't actually have that actually I do. Kristen Marcel, Joe Hogan, Casey Tomlinson, Martina White, and Craig Williams. Honestly, that's it's kind of like what we expected, but I'm so very happy to see those 3 Republicans. I'm talking about Valerie Gatos, Natalie Mihalik, and Cheryl DeLozier back in the fold. They voted perfectly. They stood tall and strong today when gun owners needed them to do the right thing, and they did. So that's fantastic news. Let me talk about Frank Burns here for just a second. Okay, this guy, and I'll get to a shout out to all the champions too, but Frank Burns, the Democrat from Cambria County, listen up here. When red flag gun confiscation got to the floor of the Pennsylvania House, Republican pro-gun champion Aaron Bernstine immediately stood up and made a motion that questioned the constitutionality of the entire bill. Okay, fantastic move for him to do. He said, under Article 1, Section 21 of the Pennsylvania Constitution, this is not a constitutional bill. I want a vote on this. And guess what happened? That bill, so those motions can only they're not debatable. They immediately have to go to a vote. When that was questioned, when Aaron Bernstine stood up and made the correct move to question the constitutionality of this, again, it destroys due process. Frank Burns, the Democrat from Cambria County, he voted yes, that it is constitutional. If you're a gun owner who lives in Cambria County, I want you to know that this guy thinks that gun control is constitutional. He voted in favor of red flag gun confiscation, and it was unbelievable to see. So if you're a gun owner and you live in Cambria County, just know that Democrat Frank Burns thinks that red flag gun confiscation is constitutional, even though it totally destroys well, I won't use that word, even though it totally destroys your right of due process. So the bills that were shut down today were red flag gun confiscation and the ban on homemade firearms. Both of those bills went down in defeat. Thankfully, despite Frank Burns' best efforts, and then statewide gun registration passed. So, guys, if you're not a member of the Pennsylvania Firearms Association, I'm asking you to join today. You're seeing now what we can do when we all work together to fight back against this stuff. Again, I think the biggest success story of today, in addition to those two major gun control bills going down in flames, was the fact that Valerie Gatos, Cheryl Delosier, and Natalie Mihalik are now pro-gun. They voted 100% pro-gun today. They held the line. They stayed firm. They didn't go break ranks and join the Democrat caucus. They voted the right way because they were listening to organized gun voters in their districts, and you guys made all the difference. So I think that's a tremendous success when you kind of stop and take stock of everything that happened here. I don't have any numbers for you yet when it comes to how many emails and phone calls were made by our members, but it was thousands and thousands and thousands of contacts were made in just the last week. So it was fantastic to watch. Again, we got our work cut out now because now statewide gun registration is over in the Senate side. We need to fire up the grassroots to make sure that Senate Republicans stand strong. But the good news is that, like we've been trying to do, and this has been the point the whole time, we have been trying to make it as politically painful for these Democrats, for these gun grabbers, to get anything done. Joanna McClinton and the Democrats just got major egg on their face because red flag laws are historically one of the easiest gun control bills to pass because that's the bill that usually has a bunch of Republican crossovers. Joanna McClinton just got egg on her face because she's the one holding the speaker's gavel, but she couldn't get the gun control out of the Pennsylvania House. So that's a fantastic thing, but we've got to keep pressure on Senate Republicans. And I think we just did a major benefit to ourselves here today by defeating two of the three gun control bills and watching statewide gun registration eke out of the House and get sent over to the Senate. I want to say that in 2023, when statewide gun registration passed, I want to say it had like a vote of like 109. I want to say that they had a much bigger margin than they did today. So that's good news. We're trending in the right direction when it comes to some of these weak Republicans. Again, like Nicole Boyer said, Craig Williams, this is what this guy does. Craig Williams is a degenerate choke artist. That's what he does. He votes for gun control. He's a rhino. That's what he is. But we've put better numbers up on the board this time. We defeated two of the three gun control bills, and we sliced down the margins on the one bill, the statewide gun registration that got sent over to the Senate. Now, I want to talk about today's rock stars. I've already told you about Aaron Bernstine. Again, he was the first one to jump into the fight by making that motion. I love it when people understand the tactics. Okay. I love it when they understand the procedure. I love it when they can flush things out into the open for everybody to see, because quite frankly, Frank Burns has been doing everything he can to camouflage himself. Again, he's the guy who gave the gavel to Speaker Joanna McClinton. The reason why these gun control bills are on the floor today is because of Frank Burns. So when Aaron Bernstine, there's a lot of Burns, when Aaron Bernstine stood up and made that motion, it was pure gamesmanship. He did a great job. Aaron Bernstine always delivers. Another one, Stephanie Borowicz. This woman is a true believer. She is a true believer. Christ is king to Stephanie Borowicz. She always stands up and says exactly, she like tears the gun control argument apart. And she stands there and she represents the best of us. And she did exactly the same thing again today. And quite frankly, I love the fact that she wears like these flaming red outfits. I mean, it's literally red versus blue. And you know that when she's standing up there, who exactly it is. So she did a fantastic job. Stephanie Borowicz. Who else made some speeches? Tim Bonner. Tim Bonner was a rock star last week in the House Judiciary Committee. Let me end that call real quick. He was a rock star last week. And Tim Bonner, he's a former prosecutor. And he stood up there and just totally dismantled the entire gun control argument. He said, for years as a prosecutor, never once did I, as a prosecutor, after a case was over, sit there and think to myself, man, if I had only had a different law on the books, I could have got that guy. He said, we've got every single law on the books that we need to go after violent criminals. The problem is these big cities are turning these criminals out loose on the population. And he did a great job. Historically, he talked about all the Supreme Court rulings, how they totally destroy a lot of these gun control bills that were being talked about today. He said that he made the point, like a bunch of them made the point, that a lot of states have already passed this garbage. And it's done nothing to stop the violent crime. So what are you actually after here? We are a nation of laws. We believe in the rule of law here. We can't just use political expediency. And I think now I'm transitioning over to Charity Krupa, because she said a lot of the same things. She stood up there and she just totally deconstructed the radical left's gun control arguments. And I was so happy to see it. She was like a firebrand. And I think when you look at it, you could see some of the people sitting around her, some of the other Republicans, they sat there and were getting a little bit uncomfortable, but that's exactly where we want our pro-gun champions like Charity Krupa. She stood there and she stood up and said, this is all total bullshit. Now, she didn't say that, but that's the summary of what she had to say. And she did it with style. And honestly, I love it when our side stands up and pushes back. One thing I noticed today was that when you had Republican after Republican after Republican standing up and taking these bold stances, what it did was it shut down the freaking radical commie left. They didn't have anybody up there doing their typical song and dance of, oh, this is got to get these guns off our streets and gang violence and gun violence and blah, blah. All of the left's gun control arguments were totally gone today because people like Charity, Stephanie Borowicz, Tim Bonner, Aaron Bernstine, the Republican leader, all these people stood up there and did a great job of saying, no, gun rights are for us, the citizens. I think it was Stephanie Borowicz who talked about how in other countries where they disarm the people, that's when governments can become genocidal. And they were making the points. They were scoring all the points today. And honestly, it felt a lot better than it has in the past. I love it. They all did a great job. And you guys can be very thankful that we have such pro-gun champions that were willing to stand up there and fight back. I get so sick and tired of watching these milquetoast Republicans in all the different state legislatures that I work in. These milquetoast Republicans, they sit there and they act like pincushions as the radical left commies who are trying to push all this gun control, all this other crap too. They sit there and act like pincushions and they don't stand up there and fight for us. That was not the case today. And I think the numbers bore it out. So well done to the people who fought this. We are going to instantly pivot. I don't have it ready for you right now. But we're going to instantly pivot and start putting pressure on the Senate and Senate Republicans so that they know you guys can't do it. The House Republicans just put up one hell of a fight. Yeah, there's a couple bad ones. Like there has been for several years now. You got Casey Tomlinson. She dresses all up so super fancy, but she stabs gun owners in the back. She stabs her citizens in the back. You had some bad ones, but we made it a whole lot more painful today for these people. So Craig voted yes on statewide gun registration, Stephanie. So yeah, he voted for statewide gun registration, and we got him to vote no on red flag laws, which I think, no, it was Joe Hogan and I don't remember who the other one was, the other backstabber last year, but we're trending in the right direction. So guys, we'll be putting the voting lists up very shortly on our Facebook page. I hit live on this only moments after they adjourned session and after they got done voting for the gun control bills. So that's where we're at. Kristen Marcel, thank you. Rob is in headquarters, and he is providing us with the information there. Joe Hogan and Kristen Marcel. Anyway, folks, as we pivot now, Mark Johnson says we're losing the fight. Yeah, we don't like it when any gun control bills come to the floor, but it's important to understand that in 2023, just 2 years ago, both red flag laws and statewide gun registration passed out of the House and were sent over to the Senate. We just defeated red flag gun confiscation today on the House floor, and we cut down the vote majority on the statewide gun registration bill that got sent over to the Senate, and that makes a much stronger case for us to put pressure on the Senate Republicans to vote no against this stuff. So Nicole asked the question, how do you think this looks in the Senate? I think this drives up our chances of defending the pro-gun majority significantly. I think that Senate Republicans were definitely paying attention today to what was going to happen. They're looking to see whether or not these Philly area rhinos were gonna leave the Republican caucus en masse to go and join the Democrats to vote for this stuff. And I think because we put a hell of a lot of pressure on these people and cut down that majority vote on statewide gun registration and defeated red flags altogether, I think we have a very strong chance of defeating this in the Senate. Again, numerically, we have a 4-seat advantage for Republicans over the Democrats in the Pennsylvania Senate, but that means that only 2 senators would have to flip their votes to join the Democrats. However, Republicans control the gavel. They control the schedule. They decide what bills get put on the floor. So I think we've got a good chance of defeating this stuff. But here's the deal. We can't just sit here and twiddle our thumbs now and play patty cakes and sing Kumbaya. We absolutely need to start mobilizing the grassroots against this bill, because if we don't, the next shooting that comes along, this stuff is going to be right back in the hopper. One thing that did happen today, though, is the Democrats, the gun control organizations, they just got handed a gift, because now they can go to work mobilizing on Senate Republicans too. And if they're trying to flip two Senate seats in the 26 elections to take total control of the Pennsylvania government, have a total Democrat trifecta, they got a big gift here today. So we can't sit on the sidelines and just expect them to do their jobs. Don't ever forget, it was Republicans in states like Indiana and Florida and a couple other states that passed major gun control bills after disastrous mass murder sprees. So it's time for us to switch our targets here and start focusing on Senate Republicans. And I'm asking you guys to join the Pennsylvania Firearms Association today. We spent a lot of money in the last week And we've, and especially in the last 48 hours. And I'm asking you guys to jump in here and get with us, become a member of the Pennsylvania Firearms Association. You can go to joinpfa.com or .org. Rob will drop a link in the comment section. You guys can, if you're a member already and you want to contribute to these efforts additionally, you guys can go to donate-to-pfa.com. We'll also drop a link for that in the comment section. We would love to have your support. Don't forget, we are already engaged in the business of identifying and getting ready to mobilize gun voters in advance of the 2026 elections. This is Trump isn't on the ballot. It's going to be a slugfest. The radical left will pour millions into just a couple of these races in order to try to flip the chamber control. And well, we're pretty good at mobilizing gun owners. So we would love to have your support. You guys see now what we do with it. Honestly, there was 8 people there was 9 actually. What's his name is out now, but there was 9 crossovers in 2023 that voted for this gun control. Today, we only had 4. Okay. On statewide gun registration, and none of them. And listen to this. And then this is for you, Nicole. Craig Williams, Casey Tomlinson, those Joe Hogan, Martina White, and I said Craig Williams, Marcel, they all voted against red flags. So, and that's only because they're terrified of losing their reelections. So this program works. That's what I'm telling you. So please jump in and help us and help fund the fight. If you guys can chip in $5, I don't care how much it is. We'll put it to good use. That's what we do here at the Pennsylvania Firearms Association. So that's all I've got, folks. It could have been a lot worse. Statewide, again, if you're just joining now, statewide gun registration. This is the red alert here. Statewide gun registration passed by a vote of 104 to 99. I keep having to confirm that when I look up on my board here. Yeah, 104 to 99. Statewide gun registration passed. It now goes over to the Senate, where Lisa Baker will be the chairwoman of the Judiciary Committee over there. She's held gun control hearings in the past. It's been a long time. She did not hold gun control hearings in 2023 when those bills came into her committee. So that is what we need to focus on now. And then also we defeated 2 gun control bills today. Red flag gun confiscation got killed like it should. Frank Burns got flushed out into the open because he now voted that red flag laws are constitutional. And then we also had, we defeated the ban on homemade firearms, which I was so happy to, I don't remember which representative it was, but one of them stood up there and talked about the illustrious history of homemade firearms in America. We've been making the point here for a long time. We wouldn't be a country if it was not for private firearms manufacturers right here in Pennsylvania, right here in Lancaster County. The Pennsylvania rifle was manufactured all throughout the Commonwealth. That bill got defeated as well by a vote of 102 to 101. And again, that was the same vote that defeated red flag gun confiscation, 102 to 101. And now, and I hope that number makes it very clear to everybody. When we're putting pressure on this district or that district or that district, we are doing it very deliberately on the districts that we know are the ones that are in play. We could take the shotgun approach, but that doesn't work. We knew where we needed to focus, and we knew it was going to come down to the wire. I can't thank you guys enough. Those of you who have been contributing or became members already, thank you so much for giving us the resources we need to go into these districts and do these things, whether it's deploying direct in-district emails, waves of text messaging into the districts, boosted social media ads into the districts, direct mail if and when we can afford them. All of these things are the tools that we have at our disposal, but all of them cost money. And so those of you who did support us, I can't thank you guys enough. If you're not one of these guys, get in with us. Get in on the fight. Go to the links in the comment section, sign up and become a member today, or make a contribution if you feel so inclined. Man, that's all I got. Thank you so much, everybody. This was a successful day. We're going to pivot now and start working on the Senate. But the success that we had today was because of you guys. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Please share this video with all of your pro-gun friends, family, loved ones, neighbors, coworkers, exes, you name it. And we'll see